Right lads, and it is of course FAI Cup weekend. Bohemians take on St Patrick's Athletic in a repeat of the 2021 FAI Cup Final. So in the spirit of it all, why not take a look back at that final 2 years ago. It was a mixed bag when it came to getting to the final for both sides. In the first round, bohs would record a 5-0 win away to Cork non-league side College Corinthians, while Pats would beat Bray Wanderers at home 6-0. The second round had a bit more to it, as bohs would face bitter rival Shamrock Rovers at home in front of a fairly small crowd due to still ongoing COVID restrictions. Bohs would of course win this game 2-1 thanks to a free kick from Ali Coote and an absolute screamer from Andy Lyons. Yeah, wonder where he'd end up. Meanwhile, Pats would have a more difficult job away to Cork, conceding a late equaliser, but would eventually advance on penalties. The quarterfinals wouldn't be as exciting, Bohs winning 4-0 at home to non-league Maynooth, while Pats would also play at home, winning 3-0 against Wexford. Finally, the semi-finals would see all Premier Division sides, as Bohs would be drawn at home against Waterford, in a game that would include a penalty miss, controversial decisions, and of course a Georgie Kelly goal. Meanwhile, Pats would be at home to cup holders Dundalk, a side that up until that point had played 6 FAI Cup finals in a row. Pats would go on to win the game 3-1, and it would feature one of my favourite goals of all time. And with all that, it would lead down to the final in the Aviva on the 28th of November, with Pats having finished second in the league and already guaranteed themselves Europe, while Bohs had finished 5th and would need the cup win to get themselves Europe, nearly exactly the same as this year. The final itself was quite late in November due to COVID, and I remember the atmosphere being an aura of cautious optimism, which was to be expected. It had been 7 years since Pats had last won the cup and 13 years for Bohs. The lineups would go along expected lines, and the atmosphere was of course incredible. It is just a pity I only recorded one video that day. The game itself was of course cagey, as you'd expect from a cup final. The first half saw chances on both sides, a few defensive errors on Pat's part, but nothing to really challenge either keeper. It was mostly the same case in the second half. Pats did some great defensive work to deny Bohs in the 59th minute, but besides that, it was a fairly even game, which would of course lead to extra time. Finally, in the 107th minute of extra time, Chris Forrester will produce a moment of magic that will put Pats ahead. Yeah, it is just an incredible goal to watch, to be honest. That lead wouldn't last, however, as just as the second half of extra time started, Bohs would get an equaliser from a corner thanks to a goal from Rory Feely. From that point on, it was pretty much all attacking from Bohs, with Pats keeper Vyacheslav Jaros doing very well to keep Pats in the game. A goal that may or may not have crossed the line, who am I to say? And with that, it was all down to penalties. Shooting towards the Pats end, Dawson Devoy was the first to step up for Bohs, scoring alongside the next 3 penalty takers until Chris Forrester would step up and miss. Yeah, in my head I thought it was pretty much over at this point. However, Tyreek Wilson would himself also miss, leaving the score at 3-3. Jay McLennan would score his penalty before Keith Ward would step up for Bohs for the 5th penalty and also miss. It was down to the last one as Robbie Benson stepped up, and of course he would score, winning St Pat's their 4th FAI Cup. Will history repeat itself on Sunday, or will Bohs take the glory? Comment below.